Welcome to market analysis for the week of September the 27th. To start things off, we will take a look at the economic calendar for the week. Starting the week off, we have a lot of speeches on Monday. Nothing that is critical except for FOMC member Dudley here. Other than that, all the news that we have on Monday is orange news, which is not as critical as the most important data point, which normally is displayed as the red news. We start things off with MPC member Cunliffe speaking at 3 a.m. Eastern for the British pound here. Then we go into the FOMC member speeches at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We have FOMC member Dudley speaking. We also have personal spending month over month number coming out for the US here. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we have pending home sales, and then we get into further FOMC member speeches. Going into Tuesday here, for the Eurozone, we have German preliminary CPI number and the Spanish flash CPI number coming out. At 4:30 a.m. Eastern, we have net lending to individuals for the British pound. Into the US session, we have RMPI month over month number for Canadian dollar, and for the US dollar here, we have goods trades balance. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we have CB consumer confidence number, which will be important for the US dollar. At 3:40 p.m., we have Bank of England Governor Carney speaking. Carney has been hawkish for the British pound, so market will be paying attention to see what he has to say in terms of when the interest rates will be raised for the British pound. Going into the Asian session here, we have ANZ business confidence number for New Zealand dollar at 8 p.m. and then 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we have building approval numbers for the Australian dollars. On Wednesday, we have German retail sales number. We also have economic barometer number for Swiss franc. We have German unemployment change at 3:55 a.m. for Europe. At 4:30 a.m. we have British pound current account number, which will be an important number for the pound. Also the final GDP number for the British pound. Start things off for the New York session, we have ADP non-farm employment change. And for the Canadian dollar, we have GDP month over month number. This is one of the few data points coming out for the Canadian dollar this week, so this will be a very important number that the market will be keeping an eye on. We also have Chicago PMI number for the US dollar at 9:45 a.m., as well as the crude oil inventories. In the afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, we have a Fed Chair Yellen speaking. Last week, Yellen spoke and her comments were quite hawkish, or at least the market perceived her comments as quite hawkish. So again, as well as the market will be looking to see what she has to say again this week, if she still stays confident in her estimate of raising interest rates later this year for the US dollar, which could then have a positive impact on the US dollar. So something to pay attention to here. Going into our Asian session, we have Chinese manufacturing PMI number, and also at 9:45 p.m. Eastern, we have Caixin final manufacturing PMI number for China. Going into Thursday, we have retail sales for Swiss franc as well as Spanish manufacturing PMI number at 3:15 a.m. Eastern. We also have manufacturing PMI number for the British pound. Going into the New York session, we have unemployment claims data for the US dollar. Again, depending on how this data comes out, this could be market moving. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we have ISM manufacturing PMI number coming out. We also have another speech by FOMC member here. Going into the Friday, we have Spanish unemployment change, and then for the British pound, we have construction PMI number coming out. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we have average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate for the US dollar. This will be an important data point that the market will certainly be paying attention to. So we'll keep an eye on this number. Let's take a look at the technicals now. Let's start with Euro US dollar. Based on this weekly chart here, we see that the price went up and tested the top of this range that euro has been trading in at 14.50, and then it fell from there. Now it did come into the previous swing low here at 1100. However, it got rejected. So at this point, based on the weekly perspective, this rejection makes this euro US dollar a little bit more positive, and we could see a potential move to the upside. I would call this, in terms of a weekly outlook, I would still, there aren't enough fundamental reasons for euro to be moving to the upside. So we'll still have that bearish tone to this. And we'll be looking to see where the market pulls back to. There may be an opportunity to sell on pullbacks. So keep an eye on that. If the price comes down into this 1100 level again, we'll look for an opportunity to see if it may break to the downside. And if it does, some of the levels that we are looking at then are 110 right into here, or 1020 level, and then further down into 108.20 level. Not sure if we will actually get here to 108 next week. However, this is the bottom support area here, so we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. So the daily candle closed in more of a bullish, with a bullish tone as opposed to the bearish tone that it had going into the week. Based on this, we could expect a further move up, and then we had this 11300 will be the resistance, and further it could go into this 1450 area, which should provide resistance as well. So this 1400 level, 1450 level could be a potential sell area here, and depending on 1300, how the price reacts here, this could also act as a potential resistance and provide an opportunity for a short. If this level here, we just looked at 1100, if price holds below this, if price goes and does a test of the high and then comes down and finally breaks through this level, we're looking at this 110.17 number as the next potential target, and then we may see market come lower into this area and go into this support and resistance level here. So let's take a look. So this level looks good, 109.20. This is a nice level. If the price breaks through here, we could be looking at these potential support and resistance areas for potential targets. Now let's take a look at British pound here. From the weekly perspective, we see this was a quite a bearish move to the downside here. However, the price wasn't able to hold below the low here, below the swing low, which makes it a little bit more neutral as opposed to being completely bearish. There is still a big bearish tone to the British pound. However, it not closing below the previous swing low gives it that a slight and neutral tone. So we'll watch out for that. Here, as we can see, this is a level that the price had a problem with. So we need to see the price hold below this 51.60 level, and which could then cause a move further down into this support and resistance area at 150.80 level. And if the price does hold there, then we're looking at a move further into this support and resistance area here at 149.50. So those will be some of the targets to the downside. However, if the price does hold at this level, we're looking for a move up and potentially into this level right in here. And if this level holds, then we are looking at some of these levels to the upside. Australian US dollar here, market has been trading in this range here between 72.68 or 72.70ish area and back into the 6900 level. We saw a rejection at the top and then another rejection at the bottom. So we will consider this still to be range bound and traded as such. It still has that bearish tone to it, even in spite of this rejection. However, we do need to see Australian dollar break out of this range to really see where it may be going. So for now, we will look to trade this as a range bound market, which means when the price comes to 0.6900 here, we may see an opportunity to take a long, and when price comes to the top level here as 0.7270-ish area, we can look for an opportunity to sell back, expecting the price to come back into this level. However, if the price goes up here and holds, then we are looking for a further move to the upside at 7,500 and potentially higher. And same way, if the price comes down here and breaks through the support, we may see a back test of this level and another move to the downside. Overall, from the weekly perspective, the tone is bearish on this. As far as the daily is concerned, we saw a rejection of the bottom here. Based on that, we can expect the price to start moving and potentially come up and test the 0.7270-ish level right into here. Let's move on to New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar has also been trading in a range here, and as we can see here, multiple rejections of the bottom here, which points to a more of a bullish tone. However, at this point, this would still be a range bound market. As we can see, the price has stayed in here for many weeks now. Going on and taking a look at the daily chart here, as we can see, market has been trading sideways. So at this point, this 64.65 area would be a potential sell, and 62.50 area would be a potential buy. However, it remains to be seen as to how the price reacts at these levels. If the price continues up and sets up a reversal trade, that will be a good opportunity to actually trade it down towards the bottom of this range. And if it comes and tests here, we may have an opportunity for a long trade setup, unless price action changes and the price is able to break through these levels and move to either side. Until that time, we'll trade this as a range bound market. Looking at the dollar CAD here, as we can see, again, price has stayed within this range for a number of weeks. We are looking at the weekly candle. Based on the weekly close here, this looks quite bullish. We have seen a rejection of the bottom and then a bullish move to the upside. However, it wasn't able to close above this the previous swing high. We saw 33.50 was the price, the top side of this range. It broke through that, went to the next level. However, it wasn't sustainable, so the price came down here. At this time, it does look bullish, so we'll look for the break to the upside here. If that happens, and we may get an opportunity for a long on the back test of this level here, 33.50. It does, however, have to contend with this 34.15 level. Once it breaks through that, we're looking for a move to the upside here, potential targets to the upside. However, if the price rejects here, we are looking for a test of this 31.15 area, or even lower this at 130. So those would be some of the good targets to keep in mind. Now let's take a look at our COT data. We'll start it off with Euro US dollar data. As we can see, for commitment of traders data, we see leveraged money actually reduce their short positions. Asset managers increase their short positions, whereas dealers actually increase their short positions as well. So at this point, looking at the COT here, this seems to be a bit of a neutral setup for the euro. Let's take a look at the British pound. As we can see here, we see a slight upward move into the asset manager position. However, in terms of the leveraged money positions, we see that it has decreased. The long positions have decreased, and if you look at the dealer positions as well, we can see the long positions decreasing a little bit. At this point, this will be more neutral to bearish. based on the COT data. Actually, let's take a look at Australian dollar here. In terms of our dealer positions, the longs have increased. For our leverage money, there's an increase in the short positions, and asset managers have reduced their short positions slightly. So overall, by looking at the COT data, we can say that leverage money is short positions have increased, and we see the opposite in the dealer positions. So at this point, the Aussie US dollar would be bearish according to this. Now looking at the New Zealand US dollar here, we see the dealer longs have increased as well as the leverage money shorts have increased. Asset managers are pretty flat. However, based on the other two, we can see negative bias for the New Zealand US dollar. And that's all I have for the market analysis for today. I will see you guys again next week.